short micro time frame BTC. Doing a longer clip for you. That's going to take a while to finalize, but this straight out the platform. So 15 minutes, and this is what we got. So what did we have? A bit of a sell-off, and identified that as kind of a left shoulder, and then a head dip, and then a return move right shoulder. So you were getting on the micro time frames an element of reversal pattern out of Bitcoin. And then you got that rally. You got a little bit of a higher high there. Higher highs are often short-term bearish, so in the short term you sold off. But actually we got a bit of HVF structure, so we got an H1 and an L1 and an H2 and an L2, and we got our final H3 and L3. So we got a bit of an HVF squeeze. We got a little breakout and return move, and then we pressed on. And wait for it, we made that target. I was unlucky because I was looking to put a little short on there, more in the longer clip as to why, and it touched, and then it started to pull back. But it went low vol, and interestingly enough, having gone low vol, you're sometimes lucky and it can go back. I hadn't put the order in a second time and it went back. So I ended up getting filled a lot lower down, which is less optimal. For Bitcoin. It's been a relatively interesting session. So following that sell-off on the 15-minute side, it's been gradually working its way up. So why are we looking at Shortville? Well, this is why. Let's take the half hour and go up a time frame. This overall is a pretty weak grind that we're getting in comparison to what has gone before. So here's our take. This particular structure that you're seeing there was a lovely little head and shoulders on a micro level. It made its targets. There was this. I actually shared this one on Twitter, so if you're following me on Twitter, you would have seen that. But it was in our premium Basecamp area as well, which will be becoming LearnDash and BuddyPress and being a much higher interface area, as good as Basecamp has been for us. But anyway, so that sold off. That was a top. And if we have a look a little more, get a little bit more structure, you'll see that this has all been selling. So the trend has been down, rally, sell, each time lower low. So in Dow theory terms, you keep making lower lows and having lower highs. Now when you get continuation structure in a lower lows, lower highs, you must suspect downside. The other thing that's of interest is the steep sell-offs here, and then an even steeper sell-off and a more grindy climb, and this all kind of just a bad structured rising wedge. Actually, it's a good structured rising wedge, which is bad for Bitcoin. Let me get my phraseology accurate here, because that's what I mean to say. So in this little micro clip, you can argue right here and now that it should be getting a little bit tired. You can see there's no real zip in it, low volatility, but it's it doesn't have much strength at all. So in this micro clip, my conclusion would be that we will fall out of this rising wedge to the downside. What does that mean? It means more crypto contraction. More crypto contraction for me on balance of probabilities. Could be wrong, usual T's and C's, not a trade recommendation, etc., etc. So spill back down. So I believe we have structure which is a flat bottomed, what we call an inverted HVF. You can learn more about it if you come to our webinar on the Thursday. You won't see it. This is the website, themarketsniper.com. Pop over there and you'll get a chance. It doesn't suit everybody. It's not for everybody. So if you're mature, you were serious about developing your trading skills, and you understand that this is an on balance of probability methodology. There's no clairvoyance here. Anyway, so that sell-off could beget a later break to the downside, which we think could make 5,700 and potentially overperform to that lower still. So that's what we're expecting. I'm doing a larger clip on this, so I'm going to keep this one short. This is just to give you the short-term time frame, but you see how you had a little bit of inverted. The key points that's fascinating here, and this is what you'll learn if you do a program with us, is the fact that you get dynamics that give you targets that confluence. I don't know if you spotted, but that HVF target and the inverted head and shoulder target, which I chose as a neckline, and you see why I chose that neckline on a bigger time frame. It's clear that the just run, and we always use horizontal levels, just run and dipping. So there's your right shoulder, there was your left, that was your head, and that is the target generated by that put up, and then you get a confluence of target. That tells me when you get a confluence of targets, it's probably the end. There's lots of geometry all saying we ain't going much further. It's not offering more and more, unless you roll into a new pattern, which this could give you another symmetrical triangle and or HVF, and you could get an upside push. That means it could go higher, but you are already squeezing, and it's very low vol generally in a horizontal fashion, and this rising wedge is even lower vol, so you could squeeze deeper into the apex. But I'm not sure how much more there could be going, but I suspect you want to position for the next major impulsive move, which is probably going to be a blunt sell-off out of the falling the rising wedge. My apologies. So with that, please share and rate and enjoy, and at the same time see you on the webinar this Thursday. It's the 12th of April, and it's at 19:30 GMT time. Until then, speak to you again.